coming in on this snowy day.
Everybody speak up for the camera.
Whatever. So then, this isn't any town meeting or any town board of commissions. This is started out as me as participants of the farmers market. Certainly rely on the public support and appreciate public support over these many years, and appreciate the work of the hosts and the vendors and everybody that works together to try to make the market a success and sustain it over a period of time. Periodically, the participants get together and talk about the future. And certainly, this is what this meeting is about: is the future of the market, like a lot of other economic enterprises in town. It's under some pressure. It needs to evolve, needs to change constantly to adapt to the economy and situations as things change in the town. So anyway, there's no agenda. But I did welcome everyone here and thank you again for supporting the market over a long period of time. And I guess now it's time to hear from participants of their reflections on the market and its future.
So, Gordon, since we're since we circled up, would it be a good idea to go around and have everybody introduce themselves?
I don't care. I know everybody here. So
I don't.
Okay, if you don't, you can. Yep.
I'm Becky Hurlbert. We sell beef at the market.
I'm Bill Hurlbert, and I'm with her.
Gordon Ridgway, Ridgway Farm, and we sell a variety of agricultural products at the market.
I'm Pat Bramley, Buck Mountain Herbs here in Cornwall.
I'm Susan Sicardi. I have a certified baker's kitchen in Cornwall, and I sell baked goods at the market.
You do. I'm Jane Ridgway. I'm with Gordon. We have lots of vegetables that we grow here in Cornwall. Go ahead, Lisa. I can tell call everybody my name.
Could you all speak a little louder? John said he's having a little trouble hearing.
Lisa Simond, I'm here for the Cornwall Chronicle.
Well, Richard Griggs, my wife and I host the farm market.
Judy Herkimer, Dark Entry Forest. We're researching avenues for forestry products to bring to the market.
Tim Herkimer, Dark Entry Forest.
Patrick Beal, new to the area, growing vegetables over Stonewall Dairy.
Joanne Florida Shack, purchaser.
Bianca Griggs, facilitator of the Cornwall Market, Farm Market, also doing all the PR, etc. for that.
John Miller, an interested party.
Betty Spence, also interested party and customer.
And Zinzer, same.
Joe Cutler, devoted consumer.
Mark Gordon from Bird's Eye and Tennerbrook Farm. We sell beef and lamb and sheepskins.
Sam Waterston, what he said.
Nancy Calmus, customer.
Peter Demi, customer.
Priscilla Powell, faithful customer.
I think I will start off. I was at the market, I left the market, I came back to the market. And the last couple of years, we've brought up the fact that we have thought about wanting to possibly move the market. Some of the vendors, and I don't want to speak for anybody, so if I'm wrong, weren't doing as well. We wanted to kind of make it larger. And there was a safety issue. I've seen visually myself two fender benders, but more than that, I've seen difficulty with unloading, loading, children, and the road is a busy road. And we've lost vendors because of that situation, and just I think we can't expand and grow there. It's a smaller situation. So we discussed it last year. Gordon wanted to keep it there, and he asked us to continue there. But we decided this year that we would talk about it a little bit more before the beginning of the season, and decided we wanted to try a different location. And because if we, I know for me, it's just you know, do we go back, or do we just stop, or do we try something new and hopefully bring in more business, easier parking, possibly coordinate with the library, have our children be able to play on the playground, walk in the street, you know, just a safer environment. So, anyway, that was my thought.
And saying that, I guess some people think that the one option, the only option is to go to Foot Fields, but that's not what this group has thought about. There's many options in town, and one of them is here in the village, possibly something in Cornwall Bridge, but the biggest thing is to think about safety and parking and accessibility.
I know that for us, we have for the past 2 years felt that we're right on the edge of whether we can survive down in West Cornwall, and we've expressed that. This is not new news for this group,
Or for
that
Doug
market.
and Richard, we've expressed it with them at the meeting.
So we just feel that we have to try something else. It's a trial period. I don't say that this is gonna be better, but I think that we have to try a new location and see what that brings.
Becky, are you saying that business has dropped?
Yes, definitely.
Does that
For
have
us.
anything to do
For
with?
us.
Does that, you think, have to do with the fewer vendors, or,
I have no idea why, and that's what is the most confusing for us. I don't know, 5 years ago, we were very satisfied with how much product we sold, and I don't know if it's because there's more farmers market in the area. That's one of the suspicions I have, that when we first were there, it was new, and now there's farmers markets in a lot of places, so are we competing with that? I also think that for us, the frozen beef is a tough thing to sell. I think the vendors that really have a more hustling business have more to say. We're a little part of it, I think. But we, for 2 years, have found that it's just barely worth it for us to go down and set up. And so we will try a new location and see how it goes. It's hard. It's a hard venue for us.
I think safety is the biggest key for me, and it's been like that, and I've said this at a previous farm, is safety. The traffic on that road, we can't have people getting in and out of their cars on that road. I mean, the town has put a sign up above saying what your speed limit is, but Richard's still out there, you know, on a weekly basis yelling at people to slow down, you know, that are in the road, and I just, unfortunately, you know, we go faster than we think we are, and, you know, there's a lot of stuff that goes on that road. Unloading, you know, our merchandise off the edge of the road is just not a safe thing. It's, you know, things have changed, and people are going faster, and the safety is my biggest thing.
Yeah, I guess for me, I'm kind of newer to the market. I've only been here 2 years now, so this will be my 3rd year. So I certainly don't have a historical reference that other vendors have here. But I think we all really appreciate Bianca and Richard for hosting it. All those years certainly been there for us. I think change is hard. I think I experimented a lot these last 2 years. I tried other markets in the area. Coming onto it, I didn't really know, you know, do I do just the Cornwall market? So I would try Friday nights, trying the Kent market. I did last year, I did Sheffield on Friday nights, and then I tried the Canaan market on Thursday nights this year. And I see that they're all kind of struggling a little bit. I think it's a common thing. And I think part of it is because there are so many markets. So there's only 2 ways I think you can grow as a farm market. You can either increase the number of vendors or change your location. That seems to be the only 2 equations I can see that can maybe produce more business. And I guess I'm kind of liking the idea of the village because I feel like it is separate from the commercial district, so it's not favoring one or the other. And it's also a way to kind of create a place for people in town to hang out together. We envision maybe having food that people can eat. You know, maybe, I don't know what we haven't defined all that yet, but have food and possibly regular entertainment of some sort. Create more benches where people can sit, and really create an atmosphere that draws the town as a whole. I mean, geographically, the village is right in the middle of the town. It has that advantage. And it could be good for the soul of the town, just to have a place where people can go. And certainly activities from the library and could be tied into it to draw people. It's risky, because you're not going to get some of the through traffic that West Cornwall has. That's probably the biggest drawback to leaving West Cornwall. So I don't know. I think it's could be worth trying. But safety is a factor. There's no question. And just easeability of just pulling up your truck and unloading and having space to work with and expand. Opportunities to expand, I think, are important. I feel we're a little bit limited there at that site.
Yeah, so I've been at the market for quite a while, and as I said, appreciate everybody's support and people who made this happen. But as I said in the spring at our meeting, that there's a lot of different components, and it's not surprising that we all don't, especially in Cornwall, have feel exactly the same way or look at things the same way. Because there's a lot of different components. The vendor profitability is key to a market. We've been selling, we sold at a bunch of different markets, Torrington, Lakeville, Litchfield, before we even started selling in Cornwall. And vendors come and go depending on, the bottom line is it has to be profitable for the vendors to be there. And I'm conscious that over the last couple of years we have lost vendors, so that's one key component. If it's not profitable for the vendors to spend their Saturdays for 5 months there, everybody's got other things to do. So that's one key. The key, another thing that's important to me personally is, what's going on around for the whole town, having good social space there, the interaction with the businesses is important. But more important than my own personal bottom line is to make sure the market that we have is in a safe, easy, accessible location, and again, having the 128 road go right through, divide the market from its main parking area is a big thing, and I've seen young and old people have issues with that. So that, I think, is tipped it in my mind. I'm open to where 2 locations, and I do think that the town is looking at developing more parking around the library. People have, in West Cornwall, people have suggested as an alternate site, it might be good that we get it off the main street. We still have the benefits to the village of West Cornwall, which still have the benefits to the vendors of having through traffic would help build the commercial activities in West Cornwall, but that project hasn't been done yet. So, but that may be another thing that we discuss as we evolve. I think also one thing that we are looking at that has worked in other towns is maybe expanding the marketing season. As much as we all like the last market in October, other towns have found it good to sustain it, so you're not as relying on that, 4th of July to Labor Day rush of people. It becomes a more normal, almost year-round venture for people, and I think a lot of people at this table have product that we could be selling right now to you all, as opposed to talking theory or site plans or whatever else. Here's a note from that I picked up a year from the Norfolk Farmers Market that is a year-round market, and they actually have it at their town hall, 2nd floor, through the winter. And if anything, Norfolk, as you can see by the picture, has an even worse climate than we have for year-round markets. So I'll circulate that around on an optimistic note, that it is possible to even expand what we have at the particular time into a more, into the future. But as I said at the start, I think the market needs to evolve. It's a little bit it's a bit of a funk now, and needs to grow and evolve. So I'll send that around. People will see.
Mark and Carol.
Yeah, Carol. We all introduced ourselves when we came in.
Hi, we all know me, Carol. Well, I'm Carol Bonsi. I'm a vendor, and I don't want to move. I strongly don't want to move. I've never wanted to move. I'm sorry I'm not going to be able to speak more cognitively at the moment about it. Should I just introduce myself, or should I
Yeah,
state
go ahead.
my case?
Do it.
We have-
Okay, so I feel that, I've watched this evolve, this move to change the location of the market. Nobody wants anybody to get hurt on Route 128. And on the other hand, if you think about it, then you would say, well, tourists shouldn't walk through the bridge, or people shouldn't cross 128 to their mailboxes to get their mail. I mean, I think that safety issue sort of makes us all feel like we have to go along with it. You know, it's kind of the Patriot Act of the market right now. If we don't go along with that parking on the street issue, then we sound like people who don't care if people get hurt, and that's really not true. Richard and Bianca, I feel they've been great facilitators. I know Bianca, Richard's there every morning loyally, faithfully facilitating. Bianca has done a lot with bringing in entertainment and cleaning up after us, having to reseed her lawn, having to deal with our personality issues. And my feeling is that she's been fair-minded, non-biased, you know, no matter what comes up. I mean, I've had my issues. Everyone's had an issue in one place or another, but Bianca and Richard always try to meet those issues in a fair-minded way. And I think that's something that's important. This is Bianca. The market was an initiative by Bianca and Deb, Tyler, and I feel like, I mean, I keep calling this kind of jokingly a coup, because it really does feel that way to me. The market's being whisked away to somewhere else, and everybody has their underlying reasons. And, you know, my sales have been off the past 2 years too, and I think that's part of the fluctuation of farmers markets in general. There is a certain fad element to farmers markets as opposed to steady people who are always going to go to markets, and those things have their ups and downs and their cycles. And so, yeah, I liked it better when my sales were a lot better than they are now, but I have a real deep sense of loyalty to that location, to Bianca and Richard, to the customers who appreciate that beautiful location and the sense of community that has been built at that location. I realize that I am now a minority voice, and yet I feel very strongly about this. And I want to reiterate that, you know, no one wants anyone to get hurt there. And so, but I'm opposed to moving market.
I'm Mark Gord from Bird's Eye 10 Bookstore. I sat there and I watched. Really, technically, we're all talking about safety, but there is no parking, because legally you're supposed to park on the other side of the white line if you park on the side of the road. Three-quarters of the car is out in the road. And I've seen the bottleneck, because I was the one sitting closest to the guardrail and paying, you know, I talked to every person that came through. And the bottleneck was always a problem. You were like, oh no, this could be bad. You hear a truck coming down the hill, you see a car coming up the hill. And people getting out of the car. I spent several times going and helping people across the street. Richard and Bianca have been great. Richard's there every day. Richard's helped people across the street. And last year you talked about moving the parking to the back. Well, you tried that the first year. Nobody coming there parked in the back, and then the vendors all left it open so everybody could park back there, but nobody was enforcing the parking to the back. So that's the biggest thing, is the safety of it. And really, technically, I believe that you're really not supposed to park on the right-hand side of the road from the post office down. And also, too, it creates a problem. It creates a problem for the post office, because you see people trying to come in and get their mail. All the people coming there are taking the parking spaces. So that's, and I always thought it'd be good to come to the village or, you know, do something. That's my thought on it. And if we have the staff, we'll be back this year. That's the reason why we weren't there last year. We went to Kent to try a new avenue, because my worker Sam's worker could sell her pork and her chicken and her eggs down there. So I could set up with Kim, my worker, and Alicia north there, and I could walk away to come back to do farm stuff. So that's my thought on it.
I was in California.
And Sam was, yeah.
So that our not being able to participate last year is a completely separate thing from all of this discussion. It had to do with available people and schedule.
Hi, I'm Lucia. I just slid down the hill, literally. I think that this discussion has been a long time coming. There was someone actually hit and went to the hospital and broken bones during one of our farmers markets a couple of years ago. And it was really unfortunate, but I think that it really begs us to take a look at where else we can have a farmer's market. And I feel like I don't have a huge amount of say because I am not there every week. I didn't participate last year because I was in Kent. I would love to participate in Cornwall, but I'm not going to be there every week. So I don't know that my voice really holds a lot of sway, but I wanted to be here. I think that it's really important to support our local agriculture, and I think it's important to support our businesses, but I think that we need to figure out what's going to work for both. I don't really know what that is. Is there a place that we're talking about having the market?
Most likely here in the village.
Here in the village? And asking if bad weather we could come inside, and trying to coordinate with the library to do events, and children at the playground, and family day events and stuff like that.
I think that would be really awesome. One of the things that I'm noticing being involved in the Kent market is that I think the climate of farmers markets is changing, and I think that we need to be really diverse in what we're able to offer, and we need to be not only a place where people can come and get together and have community, but also a place where people are going to want to come to Cornwall for some reason, or come to Kent for some reason. I mean, there's farmers markets in every town right now, and I think that we need to really change up the way we've been playing the game.
Can I make a statement? I just want to say, I love the farm market where it is. And the one thing, by pulling it out, you're negating the economic viability to West Cornwall, and you're going to eventually just close the whole town down. That's the reason the farm market was started, was to help economic viability in West Cornwall. And by pulling it out of West Cornwall and moving it somewhere else, you're going to turn West Cornwall into a ghost town. And my wife has a vested interest in it, sure, but she's also done an awful lot for the farm market. And I will do anything I can, to keep it there. But, all it does is take away from any kind of economic viability of West Cornwall.
My response to that is that's an unfair responsibility to put on us.
I'm just,
Us individually, 5 individuals. You're saying you're going to kill the town and it's going to be a ghost town. I
well,
don't take that responsibility.
And it's one day a week, and
That's not fair.
we're responsible.
Wait.
Excuse me.
It's not fair.
At the last meeting in the spring, first of all, we did not discuss much of any of this, because our meetings tend to become very unruly. I had given everybody an assignment last year to please come up with an idea, an entity of advertising for the farm market and for their own business for the season. No one did anything.
I've been doing,
sent an email.
Let her finish.
All right,
With my
I also don't think there should be.
excuse
Right,
me,
I'm not gonna go back. This is
Everybody
not-
shouldn't, there shouldn't be he said, she said, people
No.
pointing fingers at each other,
Yeah.
how bad everybody else is. We should talk about general concepts of the market and not to reference, but I don't think when meetings get to be back and forth between each other, I don't think those are productive. But this is an open meeting, say what everyone's doing. But I don't think people should be accused of individually doing
Sorry.
things. We should be supportive.
I know, but I get very emotional about it because you don't know what Bianca's put into this. You know, and to try and keep things in,
I think
keep the
everybody
town
here,
going.
whether they're a customer,
I know,
vendor, or
I know.
participant, has done things to make the market grow. And there needs to be cooperation, not blame. If the
blaming.
things
I'm
that
not
people-
blaming.
We're not blaming.
saying
I'm
you
not
are.
blaming anyone,
I'm not
but
saying you
first
are,
of all,
but-
I would like to be
Let
able
her
to
finish.
continuously
Come on. Let her
speak.
finish.
You've already derailed what I wanted to say. Thank you very much. I mean, that's how our meetings that we've had in the last years as farm market meetings have been, derailing what I needed to say. So, advertising has not been done. That is one thing I do, and I have limited funds for that. I solicit those through the Cornwall Association from the Cornwall Foundation. And that's all I have. I have minimal contributions from vendors, and as they have shriveled up over the past year, there's even less money to advertise. So one idea was that each one would do some of the work themselves. Safety. Route 128 is a 20-mile-an-hour zone, pedestrian zone through the town. If the town was interested in making that work really a pedestrian zone, there shouldn't be a safety issue at all. And throughout the week, there shouldn't be a safety issue at all. But people fly through that town center, and it's a minuscule stretch at 45+ miles an hour. State troopers do the same thing. I created the market so that there'd be an economic viability left for West Cornwall. Currently, you're addressing the issue of the water system, septic, etc. So there is an interest to maintain that as a center of the town. I also had, at the last meeting, said, how about we start working on a more permanent market? A structure in town, perhaps talk to Jane McLaughlin, to have a permanent market, because I know how difficult it is for all of you to just be there on a Saturday morning. That doesn't make you, be able to get your product out there on a regular basis. But I think a structural thing of where people can get together on an independent time frame too, a non-denominational space would be benefiting the community of West Cornwall, and that part pulling in from Sharon, Falls Village, etc. But that didn't get listened to either. And really, we did not have a discussion on moving anywhere properly. I mean, throughout the year, why didn't anyone come to me and say, hey, listen, we are having some ideas. Can we get together and talk? I mean, let's do this throughout the year. Let's not just all of a sudden send me a note that there'll be a meeting. That's just not even checking whether I will have time or not. I mean, really, it would be lovely if the communication would be more open. And whenever I've had requests for other vendors to come into the market, I've always put it out there to the group to decide whether you wanted that vendor, whether it was a possibility or not. I've never acted on my own. I've acted in the group, and that's part of our farm market rules. And I wish that was the case, leading up to this, but it was a bit different.
Can I just say, it seems to me that this is not a personal thing, Bianca.
I'm
sorry
not
that
saying
you're
it is a personal
feeling
thing.
badly. Can I finish what I'm saying? I think that the market really, in order to grow, I mean, we sort of have had sort of skips and starts, and really to maintain a viable market, it seems like it makes sense to make some changes that are bigger than what we've been doing. And I don't think it's a personal thing at all. I wish that there was a space that it made sense to do that in West Cornwall, but it doesn't, it seems like it make more sense to try it somewhere else.
If I may respond, I want to speak up here because I don't think Bianca was taking it personally. I think she was trying to express some facts that she would have liked for people. I know because I'm at the market. And, you know, I would have been going into my 10th year in the market. I won't follow this market if it moves because I find it to be divisive and rude. And for those who don't stand there, there is a lot of backbiting, a lot of bitterness, and I think it needs to be expressed. Much of what is the underpinning of this are people's feelings of being, oh, their location isn't right, or, you know, they have infighting and some amount of bad-mouthing, and this has built up to this point. And so, yes, this happened, and yes, people didn't go to Bianca, and no, there hasn't been appropriate exchange of information. There's just been, I hear it because I'm on the lawn, oh, you should go to another venue, you should go to another venue, oh, there's this other venue. It's divisive, it's not appropriate for certain members to be trying to encourage others to leave that location, and this has now evolved into a full-on shift, like the shift, not quite a shift, it's more, as I said, a coup. It's being picked up and moved, apparently. And, you know, this, you know, for however many people, who you may give me a wry or sarcastic smile, yet that's part of the problem outside the lawn, is that very thing that has precipitated this. And there were, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 representative people at the table. It looks like more. And again, I appear to be just one other than Bianca. But there are these, whether you say it's personal or not, there was a lot of personal griping that led to this. And I think that's what is a shame, that it's part of the spearheading of this is built on something that's not as nice as it's being painted. There you go.
Well, as a taxpayer, I have to tell you, what concerns me is that this idea of moving the market to the village, and the village has consistently, and I don't mean in the last 10 years, I mean in the last 25 years, opposed any commercial development in the town center here. So now all of a sudden we take the plum economic activity of this town and we give it to an area that doesn't want real commercial activity, that would pay taxes and help the community, and we plop it down here. That doesn't seem fair or sensible to me as a taxpayer. It's like the vendors used to be in New York City. You know, you'd have a store that was paying taxes and rent and electricity and all those other things, and then somebody rolled up a vendor, a little push cart, and start selling something that they're selling in the store. I mean, we are undermining the few businesses we have in Cornwall Bridge and West Cornwall when we put your businesses, your economic activity, in this place that has consistently said it doesn't want commercial activity. And when you don't want the backbone, the tax-paying part of commercial business, I don't think you should get the plum. So I would strongly oppose the movement of the market, and it seems to be that there's been an awful lot of planning from what Susan has said, already meetings with the library and do this and do that.
No, I said I would like to.
Okay.
I've never said I did.
Your body language is indicating otherwise.
that.
All right, so I would strongly oppose, and I think anybody who's reasonably paying taxes in this town and wants economic help for our two centers. I mean, it's in the town plan. The economic commercial centers, it says in our town plan, will be West Cornwall and Cornwall Bridge. So it would be against the town plan to put the market in this area.
That's great in idealism, but in reality, I don't think even Cornwall Bridge would have a safe place to have a farm market. I mean, it's great to say that.
We've
It's great.
analyzed.
It's great in theory, but in reality, we live in a very hilly, steep, wooded, wetted area, and you gotta look at what's available, you know.
Planning and zoning, what is that, where can you have a farmer's market?
I would have to look.
Commercial centers or town-owned property. That's what you're speaking.
Okay. So we could be here if you chose to.
Yes, you could, but it would be against the town plan.
Yeah, but I
Well,
thought
another
there was
regulation.
some discussion at the time of one of the town plans anyway, about bringing some kind of, you know, little convenience store or something into this village because it's so remote from everything else.
And it was strongly opposed, Lisa.
Not by
Strongly
me.
opposed.
This is where I grew up.
But you know, it is so beautiful here. I mean, I don't know, I just.
Well, that was the argument,
We-
that it was so
as
beautiful here
taxpayers-
because there was no commercial.
But as taxpayers, and I'm a taxpayer, we're paying to have that maintained. Doesn't it get mowed? Doesn't it? I mean, I think things happen there. We're paying insurance on it, but we have to pay insurance at the farm market. And it seems to me that it's an underutilized space in town. That's prime, it's level. How many level spaces do we have in town? I don't know. To me, it seems like a practical move.
What were the thoughts about Footfield?
We did talk about that a lot. Some of us were really in favor of that in terms of ease for the vendors to be, not have to bring tents and be under that pavilion. So a lot of us thought, oh, that'd be really good. But then we really kind of analyzed and agonized over that, and many of us sort of felt that the traffic's pretty intense there during games, coming and going.
It would be dangerous to
People don't like to go in and out of that
Of that
field.
field.
The visibility's not great, and it's busy on a Saturday
And it
already.
doesn't- Right.
That was my first choice a while ago, and then I changed my mind. Because I
Yeah.
think it's too, now Northwest United uses those fields, and the parking lot is pretty full on a Saturday morning. And we thought, oh, that would be new business, but it doesn't seem as appealing, especially to the town, to the people who live here. I think they would rather come to Cornwall Village than to Footfield. That was after I thought
The
about
shade,
it.
the shade trees
Long
too.
and hard.
Yeah.
I have a question, which is, have you asked the people of the town what they think? I mean, why not do a little survey and ask people what they think?
Well, it's kind of irrelevant unless, well. unless
No,
they-
it isn't.
Well, unless they shop at the farm market, if they don't go to the farm market.
And that's what I was just gonna say, a lot of people, what I'm seeing when I'm in Kent is that it's not just Kent people. We don't have a lot of Cornwall people coming. I mean, yes, Cornwall people
Weekenders.
are what's keeping the farm market going, but it's the main vendors that are there selling things every week. For someone like me, who has a product that people aren't gonna be buying every week, because you don't need lip balm every week, you don't need salve every week. I sit there and I make nothing some days. That's why I joined up with Birds Eye Canterbury Farm, to help them with their dilemma and
Yes,
also.
well, of course, that's a tourist, you know, it's heavily trafficked with tourists.
Yeah.
And in Cornwall, what's heavily trafficked with tourists is West Cornwall, you know.
I asked Katie.
Surveys can be difficult too. I remember doing one for the community, the aging, and we asked everybody, what should the town do? And we got, 500 people want to do it, 200 people want to do this, 75 people want to do this. And then we did, I remember we had a tea, because that was the number one thing, and 2 people showed up. And then we went back and asked people, and they said, oh, well, I think that person should go, they're old. I'm not old, even though they were a senior. So, I mean, it's tricky to do.
I think we're all very open to people's comments, suggestions, and thoughts, as diverse as they may be. I mean,
Right, I mean, and there are some people here who are not vendors, and if anybody had anything to say, I'd love to hear it.
I did hear from somebody from lived in West Cornwall who told me she really appreciated being able to stroll down the road to the market. I mean, I said, thank you very much for that. I'll keep that in mind and forward the email on to the other vendors, and said you're going to get a bunch of different opinions, but there's truth in all of them. So I'd be glad to have the public input.
I had come today in hopes of hearing some analysis, some black and white analysis on what's going on, and some actual numbers of, you know, profit and loss, and the issue of traffic calming. I mean, traffic calming in West Cornwall is not just about the farmers market. It's about the entire town, and it's been an ongoing problem. So what has been done in an attempt to enhance slowing cars down, coming down that hill? How much does it cost to have a state trooper or someone with flashing lights on market day? Hearing a lot of emotion, and I know that over the years, if only, I mean, Carol, I think, said it, if only the landscape of the room right now is a telling sign of when you circle up, you don't have a table in between people. It's clear, and I don't know a lot of you, it's clear that there is a wall here. I hear a lot of ayes, I'm not hearing a lot of we's. I know that you guys have put in an immense amount of years into advertising. Sometimes a move is good. Sometimes all of this time put into creating this entity just needs some tweaking. And a move away is really contraindicated and will be disastrous. So I would like more numbers, more input, more possibilities. I don't even really know who controls the market. Does every vendor have literally an equal share or part? Are you two, I know you're the originator with Deb, but you seem to be sitting here facilitating, Gordon, facilitating and having the major voice. As the first selectman, do you run the market? I mean, I don't know if I don't know, there's other people who probably don't get the whole structure. And I would hate to see all the work that everyone's put into the market to this point. I think that you actually, Gordon, in the beginning, did not support the market on some levels. I could be wrong, if not resistance. So
I didn't support the market. I've been there every Saturday for the last 10 years. What else can you do?
No, I didn't know if your participation in Kent was your main focus, and I didn't laugh when anybody else spoke. I don't know. I'm not really. I'm here to try and get more information on what's going on.
Well, you've had a few people tell you that their sales have been down.
Right.
And there's also two previous participants to our market who are here.
I
So
think
that should be the case.
that's the huge point
And I think
here,
that's
is that there's issues with that market and people being able to make it an economic viability, which is why there's been talk about what can we do to make things different? How do we get people in, and there's been this long-standing issue with parking. I don't know if that's why there's not a lot of people coming through the market. There are definitely staple people that come and support mainly the vegetable growers there, is what I noticed personally. And I've worked at that market for a long time in many different capacities. I worked with Jonathan when Jonathan was down at Stonewall Dairy, had some of my products there, but I've always needed to team up with someone else because for me, it didn't make economic sense to have a table there. So I think what we're talking about is that the vendors are having a hard time there, and clearly there's some issues, and so we're all wanting to find out what can we do to make this better for all of us.
And before making the decision for a split and a move away, perhaps more in-depth, better, concrete analysis of the current setting might be where it's at. Most farmers markets are struggling right now. 2-3 people have said that. We know that. So what's going on? What can we do to make it better? Is it time to move? You know, what are the numbers? How can we calm that traffic? How can we better utilize West Cornwall and the covered bridge to draw people in? Does the town plan support it here? Does it not? You know, we don't need to hire a consultant, but we can.
And I can say, Judy, as part of this group that met a lot with Bianca every year about this market, this has been our conversation. Like, what do we do? How can we bring people in here? And, you know, Bianca was our market master always, and she was the person who, I think this is a really sticky part because it's not about, we don't want to pull economic growth away from West Cornwall. We don't want to hurt Bianca or her business. It's just about what is best for the vendors and the farmers market and what's really going to keep us sustainable.
That should be the focus. And in reference to your divide of the room with us over here, until 2 days ago, we had no idea the public would be here. We thought we just happened to pick this as a space that was in the center of town. So it's not as if we're trying to,
Yeah,
us versus
it's the
them.
opposite. It's the opposite. This was supposed to be a meeting of the people, of the vendors, and we invited you all in. So it's the opposite of a wall.
Are you a
We're listening to
nonprofit?
everything.
Are you a 501c3? I don't even
No,
know that.
we're not that formal at all. But we would like to become a Connecticut certified market. I mean, maybe we have to come out and just say it. I think a lot of us feel we need to have a more vendor-driven or managed farm market and change its direction and vision as well as location. There's more to it than just location, but we're not getting into all that with everybody because it would be a long thing.
Yeah.
But there is more on the plate than just location. So I think
why have we not worked on that? Why was there resistance years ago when I suggested that this market becomes a certified market, that it actually could become that? I mean,
it's a lot of work for one person. It needs to be a group
Exactly.
effort.
So why haven't we worked together? I mean, you have all these wonderful ideas about having more benches there, having food there. Mark actually, years ago,
Been saying it for 3 years now.
has always promoted that, you know, that we should have breakfast food at the market and be selling that. Connecticut is a little bit more difficult to produce food at the market and sell it there. The rules and regulations with Torrington Area Board of Health are just a bit more stringent. But it's always been on the plan. So why haven't we worked together? Why isn't there a dialogue on a weekly basis during the season? If there is that desire to have various different things there. I can't do everything. You know, I listened to you last year, Patty, when you said Berkshire Grown, I should contact them. I did. We're advertised with them. We're on their brochure. And thank you, because I think it's a good thing to do. We try to, you know, hit everybody, you know, be on maps. So, and I actually recently, because the Cornwall Goshen map has been reissued, had put an ad in there for the farm market for this coming season. Because you have to do things way in advance.
Well, yeah, and that's why we asked you in the spring that we wanted to meet first thing after the last farm market in October to talk about all this, and you didn't want to meet. Yeah,
Okay, I was in Germany, first of all.
Not in October, but
Of course I was in
or December. We reached out.
No. I had sent an email to Gordon that I would be able, after the holiday season is over, to meet with all.
That's too late. We had to get
It's
things
not
going
too
earlier.
late. It's not too late. I have to focus on my business too. And you know how small businesses are struggling. So throughout the holiday season, I really have my hands full. And coming back, I was in Germany for a good chunk of November. It's just not possible to divert my attention to all those things. And I think this is a really serious issue, you know, a farm market. I mean, I wouldn't have created it 10 years ago if I didn't feel it was necessary to have a food entity such as a market in West Cornwall. We lost Casey Baird who pulled out. And that's when I could do it because I had a property there that I could easily host the market on. I didn't have to go to anyone in town because we tried that years prior with the Association of Businesses in Cornwall. We had tried to bring up a market and it failed because we couldn't find a location that would be supported by it. So, you know, why didn't we talk throughout the year? Why is this only coming up now? I mean, the end of October is just not a time. I mean, I actually always align my vacation time, that's how stupid I am, with, you know, the end of the farm market so that I can be there for everyone properly until the end. This year it was cut short, basically. So I could have gone away way earlier, and I didn't, you know.
But also, excuse me, this was already being talked about as almost a done deal well before October between people at the market because I'm there and I hear conversations. So to say that this is going on because Bianca wasn't available is just not accurate. This was being scripted well before October. And as far as the vendors having trouble with sales, I'm one of those vendors, and I will remind everyone that I came to the market selling salves and other herbal concoctions and little piles of vegetables because I was farming over at White Olive Farm. You know, I'd have my little piles of produce and so on. And guess what? People wanted what I made at Cafe Wow. So I thought, I don't want to bake anymore. I'm actually allergic to gluten, okay? I don't want to do that, but, you know, you adapt. So I adapt, and you adapt. And one by one, I said, okay, I'll make soups. Well, the soups aren't so great. I stopped making soups, and it was a long evolution. And now I know, okay, this is what people want from me. It's a collaborative thing with the customers. You don't just go in and say, this is what I've got, and you can. But then if your sales aren't adapting because you haven't adapted to the market demand, then that's such. I would have terrible sales if I hadn't changed. And so here I am doing something I don't care for. You know, but having said that, and I've said this earlier, the sales are down because all markets are down. And someone else said, Judy, I think it was, and you have to do your research. There was I think Tom Levine sent all of us a Wall Street Journal article addressing this very issue with this cycle of farmers markets. He did send it out to us, I think it was last season, in response to all of our sales being off. I don't think that's location. I think that's part of the trend. And I think, yes, we have to work harder, but people aren't just going to come buy something that they don't want. It's just a fact.
I mean, why can't there be two, I mean, not why can't there be two markets, but if you guys obviously want to leave, and Bianca just said she didn't need permission for it long ago, does she need permission for it now? I mean, it seems like none of you really want to be there, so go find somewhere else to be if you think you can make it viable. And then it leaves her kind of in square one again, like, oh my God, all my vendors left. But if she really wants to build the market back, there's plenty of vendors that will probably fill your guys' spots too. I mean, not a ton, but I mean, there's more people doing different things. You got new farms opening everywhere. I mean, there's so many markets anyways, flood the market even more. I mean, for me, I'm like, I go with Chris, you got the markets, Megan Haney, I'm like, you know, there's everything's just 5 miles up the road again and again and again. If you guys don't want that, I mean, is there anything against that?
No.
And especially if you guys want to use more like grants, town allocated money to build like this huge infrastructure or this permanent market, or with juggling and music. I mean, why can't you do that? Or at one of you guys? I mean, if you really
It's an interesting idea, and I said, I think also if you look at a time when the town was a little more vigorous, you know, there was a food store, you know, not too long ago, Casey had a store in West Cornwall, there was a store at the Four Corners, and there was, you know, so there can be more food outlets, not even in the village, in those two village centers. In a way, that to me is a better model because it's year-round, it's spread out, and there's nothing saying there can't be more than one farm market in town.
I mean, you
As
can go
to
in
answer your
town,
question,
like
there's no regulations
35
that you
grocery
can't.
stores and they all are open still. I mean, it's not gonna be the same, but there's like just by just traveling a lot, people take one road a lot of times. So it's like each road has its own separate channel of patterns of people that are traveling, and just moving 5 miles over your right, you get a lot of different people that are driving that road all the time to their destination, the team that they're going to. So you're you're already your roads are always gonna be different things. Not that it's great to split stuff up, but that's just how it is.
It's not bad.
I mean,
I think you also look
farmers
at
market.
at your place down to Stonewall. We just looked at trying to make maybe Cornwall more of a food destination, so you don't look at just a 3-hour period of time. You look at installations that maybe are scattered around town. I mean, there used to be Buddy used to have a farm stand up at his place. There's opportunities, and people come from New York State to come to my little vegetable stand. I mean, and I think that is, it's a viable model to have more. We go over to Goshen to pick strawberries or blueberries. I mean, there's a lot of pick your own places that are opening up, so I think it's a good thought.
I mean, that's it, there is constant 24-hour, they can come get vegetables from my house in Stonewall during all summer, any time of the day they're there, so, there was a lot, but a little, variety here and there. The corner store has vegetables. Kent is twice a week, right? Goshen is twice a week now. I was going there, it's the same thing as well.
Right, and it's, variety is the spice of life, but I think the thing is to try to evolve and maybe have more offerings that are in tune to what people want to do. People want to, explore the countryside as much as anything else.
And I think worldwide, we're in a totally different economic climate now than we ever were. And we all need to adapt and find new ways to make things work. And that's what we're trying to do, that's how I see this. And I can't be here I gotta get going, but I appreciate everybody having a conversation and look forward to hearing more.
I would like to see this table removed. This whole thing makes me kind of sad, in that this is too important for the town and for all of our tables at home. And perhaps you need what's called a mid-course review, in that you literally bring in, you get rid of this table and you bring in a professional facilitator. You're worth it. You're worth it to me. You guys all work really hard, as we do. And even if it's time to, go in separate directions or to come back together, the tone is disturbing, and it's counterproductive to the town and to everybody who supports you, and for people who want to come in. And there are plenty of professional facilitators in this town who would do this pro bono, and I think it's more important right now to come together and to put some things ink to paper, and rather than what I'm hearing. My heart is heavy right now.
Okay.
We'd like to hear you.
The other thing I was going to point out, I believe if you put the farmer's market in Cornwall, it sort of takes it away from the traffic in it. Whereas in West Cornwall, you have the traffic, where at Footfield, you have the traffic. That's my only point, that you couldn't do more with by being off the beaten trail.
My immediate response to that is, from the experience of being there for years, it's not people who just pull over and say, let me see what this is. It's usually people we've seen before or people from Cornwall. It's not, I would say the highest percentage is not people we've never met before that come to the market.
I'd like to ask another question about that. What difference has it made since Trinity closed? Did the farm market get much business when Trinity had its operation?
Not at all, I would say.
Like I said at the very beginning, I have no idea why it's so down, and my feeling is we have to try something, we have to try something different. I don't know if it's gonna work, but the way it is right now, for, at least for us, for this, one of the smaller vendors, is not financially viable.
And I think with us, because we sell a frozen product, we aren't gonna get the people, the leaf peepers that are walking through the covered bridge, you know, that come from who knows where to pick up frozen product, and, you know, when they get it home, it won't be frozen. You know, vegetables, you know, fruit and stuff, all that stuff can get picked and put in your car. But we have a little different product that we sell, and unless you're gonna be eating it at night, you can't take it out of the cooler. You know, so we don't really, I don't think we really hit the, you know, the leaf peepers and the people. Most of our people are people that come on a constant basis, that come through, or come to a farmer's market because they're coming to a farmer's market because they know they're gonna be getting, looking for frozen beef or vegetables and stuff, and then they go home. You know, they actually go shopping, I guess, you know, for me and Becky.
Part of the problem, I think, is demographics too. I think the area in general has become more weekend home driven than year-round people. So I think that can be affecting too, the people that are out and about. And there aren't as many, and we see through the package store, there aren't as many people that are actually here Monday through Friday, you know, shopping. Because it's a lot of weekend homes, empty homes.
I think also you're seeing, you know, a decline in young families. I mean, the older people are more mobile. Kids anchor people to a town for a long period of time. And all of this whole region, with the decline in young people's population, this is another symptom of what's going on with that. As the population gets older and doesn't have the young families, it's affecting the markets.
It's not our fault that we're getting older.
It's not our fault. That's the reality of one of the explanations of why this has become more difficult.
But that's why it's also more difficult for a place like West Cornwall to retain its economic viability, and therefore, you know, detracting yet another entity from it makes it very, very difficult. Then you have to question why you're even working on the sewage and water treatment idea for that part of the town. I mean, is that then just, you know, money poured down the drain? You know, when you're making a statement by detracting, you know, an entity like the farm market, and numbers are down everywhere. We're flatlining right now. When you talk to people even in Great Barrington or Millerton, everywhere, the holiday season was horrible. I mean, I hear these things, and I try to pass them on to you to give you some support as to why your numbers are down. People buy less beef these days. I've heard from people who I've met through my business or elsewhere, the market is too expensive for them. Those are all factors. Our income levels are flat out here. People can't expand as much money for products. They go cheaper and cheaper. They go to Aldi, they go to ShopRite. We have a growing population of people who are on social services because that's how it is. And I mean, we look at the school system, 76 kids. I mean, it's really sad. And if you make this town even, you know, the town center is even less viable looking, then how many more people do you attract? I know Janet Saunders back then had said to me, when I saw the farm market bustling, I knew I had to be here. This town looked viable to me. So it's just, you know, for me as a person who's really, I love this town and I want this to be my happy place again. But the last couple of years have been really trying in that respect. And I would love to see for all of you to really be successful with your products, for the agricultural part of this town, because this was an agricultural town originally, to be really successful, to really, you know, pump the products out there to people. But I think also a more permanent structure in West Cornwall, because people don't travel for food unless they do travel once a week to like a Stop and Shop or a bigger grocery store. On a weekend, they don't want to travel anywhere. They want to be somewhere close by. So West Cornwall pulls in people from Falls Village, Sharon, and parts of Goshen. Whereas Cornwall Bridge pulls in a whole different area. And this area would, again, to pull in a different demographic. But I think it is important, from my standpoint, that there be something for the future of West Cornwall as such, in order to make it economically viable. And the town plan and the recommendations by Hiram Peck have supported such, so for the farm market actually to be there and to be expanded and supported and traffic measures to be addressed and safety.
I'd like to go on the record today with gratitude to Bianca and to Richard for making this farm market, starting it, having the idea, creating it, doing all the work to make it happen, hosting it every week, doing what you could to mitigate the traffic, and making it something that has lasted for 10 years. I love the West Cornwall Farm Market, and I'm there almost whenever I'm in town, I'm there. And I buy from almost all of you. I have cut down my beef, which is why you don't see me that much. But from everyone else, I'm buying all the time. I would like to see it stay there if there's a way to make it work. I certainly understand if you're finding it not viable for you, that you would want to find another solution. So I too would like to go along with the suggestion that the conversation continue in a more collegial way. This has been divisive, and I understand what you're saying about the heart, because it's disquieting to know that something that I have loved for these 10 years is causing other people problems and distress. So I would like to see the conversation continue. But meanwhile, thank you both for doing the work that you've done. I'd be interested to know also who would be the market meister if it moves from West Cornwall, because obviously it wouldn't be Bianca anymore, and so who's going to be willing to put in the time that Richard and Bianca put in every week to set it up, to clean it up, to do the publicity and so on. But thank you very much.
You're here.
I'd like to throw a comment in, even though it might be a little bit ridiculous. The stress and the stress of the struggle that I hear is causing the cracks. Solutions will probably help alleviate the stress and the struggle. I think the more minds together, the better. You'll end up with a much more comprehensive solution. I do agree, what I've been feeling, I don't participate in the farm market that much because of the divisiveness that I feel in this town.
Because of the divisiveness, did you say?
Yes. And it becomes, after you go to the meeting over and over and over, all different meetings, there is always seems like a purposeful division of people. It's sort of placed there. I don't think it's mean-hearted. I think it's just politics. But when it comes to the survival of everybody together, as my site half says, having a circle is much better. And what I was feeling as listening to everybody's ideas, one of the things that popped in my brain, which I found out wasn't going to work, was a little state park that's down there on the river next to the gas station. Perfect location for everybody. But I don't think legally that's a possibility. I tried tossing back and forth how you improve West Cornwall, how you improve this area, etc. And then you toss about back and forth the idea of, is it the tourists that are coming in, or the part-timers that are coming in, or the locals that are doing the purchasing? It is a money factor, and money's a problem, especially if you're trying to grow something that people aren't leaning towards anymore. So the market is changing, and so my little creative humor on the site is if West Cornwall could have a farmer market drone center. So you can take the foods and have them delivered to people who are calling in.
There you go.
That's just to lighten up the air a little bit.
Another business opportunity for you. Okay, well, we'll leave everybody laughing. I think everybody's cold, and thank you all for coming.